This is Joe Smith from the Midwest Football Podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It all helps us grow our show. Look for our full show, too, anywhere you find podcasts. Links below.
They definitely have the running backs to run that kind of run-heavy, Baltimore Ravens style offense. With Jonathan Taylor, arguably, if he's not the best back in the league, he's up there. They
Agreed.
just drafted a really nice two-down plotter in Evan Hull. They picked him up in the 5th round. They've got some running backs that can, some wide receivers that can make some catches in space. They used one of their high picks on North Carolina wide receiver Josh Downs.
I really like Josh Downs. He's an interesting guy because even though the two other guys are bigger, Josh Downs is a smaller guy, but he was one of the best contested catch guys in football last year. He's like the little dog at the dog park that doesn't know he's small. He just goes and gets it, and he's a good, slot complement. Whereas like Pittman is a big guy who's kind of fits that X role. Alec Pierce is a really fast, toolsy receiver that can stretch the defense, and Downs is going to be that underneath guy that can, catch the ball, move the chains. And I think it's a really good receiver. It might not be the best receiver core, but they complement each other well. And then you throw in the fact that they got Mo-Alie Cox and Jelani Woods, which might be the largest two tight ends out there. The only thing that could have been more comical is if they got the guy from Georgia in the draft that went to the Steelers.
Yeah, if the line of thought is let's get receivers where all that Toolsy Richardson has to do is get it in the zip code and it's going to be a catch, then they certainly accomplished that mission.
Yep. And just true to their brand too. They got some other good ones that I like. Some of the other guys I like, they got Adewale. Am I pronouncing it correct? Adewale, the defensive tackle out of Northwestern. He's a good physical boom bust guy, as well as Darius Rush, cornerback from South Carolina. I think those are some high upside defensive players that they got. And there's some other guys they got even lower that all have that high ceiling, low floor type, and that's just what they do. And I think that's what you want to do when you're in rebuild. Is get those high upside lottery tickets and get a lot of them and see which ones stick.
The BYU offensive tackle was a little bit weird because they started the offseason with basically one piece of their offensive line super set, and it was last year's project, Bernhard Raymond. So then they turn around and they added, instead of anything to help the inside of the offensive line, which looked like where their trouble spots were, they added another project left tackle who's tall and lanky and doesn't look good in the run game. So I'm not sure they could play both of these guys at left tackle.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either. I thought that was probably the first pick they'd made that I was like, I don't even see the upside in it, to be honest. He's got such a weird body type as a tackle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got the kind of length that teams want, and he's super athletic. So I'm not saying he's going to stink. I'm just saying that I don't know how he fits in with Raymond on the same line unless they're planning to kick Raymond to the right side or something.
Yeah.
Ryman, yeah.
But, depth doesn't, it doesn't hurt to have depth. So.
Yeah, true. But they also could have had starters on that side of the line. What do you think of the class overall?
I thought it was fine. There was a couple, it's a lot of boom bust guys, and it's going to be hard to determine. There was only a few guys I really loved, but for the most part, I think it made sense for what they do as a draft, as a team, as a GM, and what Ballard does. And also, when you're picking number 4 overall, you should swing for the fences. But also, swinging for the fences in the previous drafts is also might have been what landed them going from a playoff team down to a top 5 draft pick in the first place.
I'll give the Colts a lot of credit because they were swinging for the fences. They don't want to be second and third in the AFC South for the next 10 years. They want to win the thing and play for Super Bowls again.